Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're talking about something we all experience, flying. I love traveling, but let's be honest, flying can be a little interesting sometimes. So to make our journey smoother, we're going behind the scenes with 20 things flight attendants want you to know. Get comfy, buckle up, and let's get this flight started. You know, I believe in kindness, it's so important. And when you're up in the air crammed in a metal tube with hundreds of other people, it's even more important. Flight attendants are amazing. They're not just serving drinks, they're looking out for your safety. Think of them as your friendly, high-altitude guides. A little kindness and respect can go a long way. Let's make their job a little brighter, shall we? Plus, you never know when you might need an extra pack of peanuts or some help finding your seat after a trip to the, shall we say, lavatory. Okay, picture this. You're boarding the plane, everyone's excited, and then it happens. Someone's trying to stuff a suitcase the size of Texas into the overhead bin. So, to avoid a boarding delay and some serious side-eye from your fellow passengers, let's talk about packing smartly. Don't overpack your carry-on. Make sure it meets those airline size requirements and that it can actually fit in the overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. Pack light, travel easy. I know, that seatbelt sign can feel like a suggestion sometimes, especially when you really need to stretch your legs. But trust me on this one, keep that seatbelt fastened whenever you're seated. You see, turbulence is like that friend who shows up unannounced. You never know when it's going to happen, and when it does, you want to be prepared. Safety first always. Think of it as a little hug from your seatbelt, keeping you safe and sound. You know that feeling when you step off a plane and your skin feels as dry as the Sahara Desert? Yeah, that's cabin air, my friends. It's dry, like drier than my jokes after midnight dry. So to combat the dehydration monster, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, and I mean plenty, before, during, and after your flight. Keep that water bottle topped up like you're watering a thirsty plant. Oh, and maybe go easy on the coffee and alcohol. Water is your best friend on a flight. I know, those safety demonstrations can feel a little repetitive, especially if you're a frequent flyer. But here's the thing. You never know when knowing that information could actually save the day. Every plane is different, and those flight attendants are sharing some seriously important safety tips. So, pay attention, even if it's just to admire their excellent demonstration skills. You never know when knowing where the exits are or how to use an oxygen mask could come in handy. Remember, knowledge is power, even at 35,000 feet. Okay, let's talk about boarding. It can be the most chaotic part of the whole flying experience. Everyone's trying to get on the plane at the same time, there's a traffic jam in the aisle. But fear not, my friends, there are ways to make boarding smoother for everyone. First, be prepared. Have your boarding pass and ID ready to go so you're not fumbling through your bag while everyone's waiting. And speaking of bags, make sure you know where your bag is going. If it's a small one, pop it under the seat in front of you. If it's a bigger bag, make sure it fits those overhead bin requirements and can be easily stowed. Let's work together to make boarding a breeze. You know that little call button above your seat? It's like a magic button, right? Well, not quite. Flight attendants are absolute superheroes, but they can't do everything at once. So, before you press that button, think to yourself, is this a real emergency, or can it wait? But if you're feeling unwell or there's a real problem, by all means, press that button. Remember, the call button is for important things, not just a request for another ginger ale. Okay, let's talk about fashion, or more specifically, airplane fashion. Here's the thing. Planes can be unpredictable. One minute you're freezing, the next you're sweating. So, my advice is to dress in layers. Think comfy clothes that you can easily adjust to the ever-changing cabin temperature. And please, for the love of all things comfy, wear slip-on shoes. Trust me, you don't want to be that person struggling with laces in the middle of the aisle. When it comes to packing your carry-on, it's all about the essentials. Think of it as your in-flight survival kit. Medications? Check. Chargers for all your devices? Double check. Snacks to keep those hunger pangs at bay? Triple check. And of course, some entertainment to keep you occupied. You know the saying, rules are made to be broken? Well, not on a plane, my friends. Those rules are there for a reason, to keep you safe and sound. So whether it's about seatbelts, electronic devices, or staying seated during turbulence, follow the rules. They're not suggestions, they're there to ensure everyone has a smooth and safe flight. And remember, those flight attendants are just doing their job. Okay, let's talk about the lavatory. That tiny little room on a plane that always seems to have a line. Here's the thing, it's a shared space, so let's treat it with respect. First and foremost, only use the lavatory when the seatbelt sign is off. No one wants to be thrown around in there during turbulence. Second, keep it clean. And lastly, don't linger. The reclining seat. A source of comfort for some, a source of frustration for others. Here's the golden rule of reclining. Always check behind you before you lean back. A quick glance and a polite, "Is it okay if I recline my seat?" can go a long way in preventing any awkward encounters or spilled drinks. Remember, we're all in this flying experience together, so let's be considerate of our fellow passengers. We've all been there. You're trapped on a plane and suddenly, a mysterious smell fills the air. It's like playing a game of, "What's that smell?" but with your sense of smell as the contestant. So, my friends, I implore you, avoid bringing strong-smelling food on board. That tuna sandwich might taste great at home, but in the confined space of a plane cabin, it's going to smell like a fish market. Stick to snacks that don't have a powerful aroma, and let's keep the air fresh for everyone. The overhead bin, it's like a game of Tetris up there. So let's make sure we're all playing by the rules and maximizing that precious storage space. First, always place smaller bags under the seat in front of you. This frees up space in the overhead bins for larger bags. And when you're putting your bag in the overhead bin, make sure it fits securely and won't be sliding around during the flight. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work, even when it comes to overhead bins. Let's talk about delays. They're the worst, right? But here's the thing. Flight attendants have absolutely no control over the weather, technical issues, or air traffic control. So when a delay happens, take a deep breath, practice your patience, and remember that those flight attendants are doing their best to keep everyone informed and as comfortable as possible. And who knows, maybe that delay will give you time to finish that book you've been meaning to read. Remember that turbulence we talked about earlier? Well, when that seatbelt sign comes on, it's time to take a seat and stay seated. I know it can be tempting to get up and stretch your legs, but trust me, it's not worth the risk. Think of it as an excuse to relax, catch up on your reading, or maybe even take a little nap. Okay, before you even get on that plane, you have to make it through security. And let's be honest, no one enjoys that experience. But we can make it a little smoother by being prepared. Before you even pack your bags, make sure you're familiar with the TSA guidelines for liquids, electronics, and prohibited items. And when you're going through security, have your ID and boarding pass ready to go, take off your shoes and jacket, and be patient. On those long-haul flights, the amazing crew is working hard to keep you comfortable and safe, but even superheroes need their rest. So, if you see that curtain drawn, it means it's crew rest time. Try to be mindful of their space and avoid disturbing them. Picture this. You're walking down the aisle, excited to get to your seat, and suddenly you hit a roadblock. It's a bag, or worse, a person. Remember, those aisles are like the hallways of the plane. We need to keep them clear so people can move around easily, and those flight attendants can do their jobs. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about gratitude. Those flight attendants work incredibly hard to make sure you have a safe and comfortable flight. A simple thank you or a genuine smile can really brighten their day. That's it for our 20 things flight attendants want you to know. We've covered everything from packing tips to turbulence etiquette, and I hope you learned a thing or two. So, next time you're jetting off somewhere, keep these tips in mind. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.